Woosa. Woosa. Good day everyone, Leana here from Five Lifestyle Art. Welcome to my channel. We've got a great project today. We are going to make a watercolor easel, which you can also use as a drawing board or sketchboard. The underside of my easel I have covered in cork, so it basically is non-slip. And what I actually like about the underside, it works as a really super mouse pad. Lovely angle, comfortable. So yes, let's zoom in and I'll show you the product. So this is the final product that we're going to make today. I just want to show you quickly what my one looks like. And I've just pegged a piece of paper on the top, and when I draw or paint or whatever, I just lift it up to various angles at the angle that would be suited for what I'm doing, be it watercolor drawing, sketching, etc. The underside I covered in cork, and what is really great with this is that it would be non-slip on my table, and when I use my mouse, my arm is actually at a very comfortable angle, which I really like, and I've got a lovely big space to work on. Works like a charm. In the video you will see how I trim these blocks, and the reason why I trim them is so that when this section here slides over like that it doesn't lift here at all. This is the best studio to be. This is where you want to be. Five Lifestyle Art. Alrighty-o. I will show you what I will use to make this project and what you would require. I have two 400mm by 500mm by 6mm thickness superwood boards. I have one 200mm by 300mm by 6mm thick superwood board. I've got a pencil to make markings on the board. I used a Cretacolor all marker pencil, but you can use anything to make marks on the boards. I have four small hinges with their screws, a craft knife. I have a gel super glue with a fast setting spray. You can also use any craft glue or wood glue, PVA glue. It will just take longer to set. I have some balsa wood pieces, but instead of balsa wood you can use anything else. For example, a high density foam or anything else that will do the job. They cut into small blocks, or you can cut it in the length of the small superwood board of 300mm long. Dowel sticks might work, but you will have to sand one side flat so that the dowel can be glued down. I'm still going to see if these balsa wood pieces are the right size for the final setup, but I'm pretty confident that they will do the job. I might have to trim some sections off, but I will also see once they are glued down if that would be necessary. The cost of the materials I used came to R95.50, and I will list everything down below in the description section. When you get your hinges, please make sure that you get a hinge that is 180 degrees or more, and that you don't get a hinge that is just 90 degrees or less, because then you won't be able to fold your top section quite as flat as needed. Also, when you get your hinges, you need to measure to make sure that your screws will not protrude on the other side. In other words, that the screws are not too long for the thickness of the superwood. These are countersunk screws, meaning that the screws, when screwed into the wood, will not stick out. It will be basically flush or almost flush with the surface of the hinge. These screws are a tiny bit too long, but I will just sand them down when the project is done. Make sure your screwdriver matches up with your screws. In other words, for example, a flat or a star screwdriver. Before you use the screwdriver, make sure it fits securely into the screw and that is not too big or too small. This is the bottom side, and it will flip down like that. And I need to make measurements here where I would like to place my hinges. I've made the markings already, 10 centimeters from the left side and 10 centimeters from the right side. So the idea is that they would be like this in the end. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do it the easy way for now, is just to super glue the hinges in place and then I will screw them down. Something else that you will need is an awl or another tool which has a sharp point. Once you have secured your hinges and glued them into place, you will use the awl to make pilot holes for the screws to be screwed in. So, what you want to do before you glue down your hinges, you don't have to glue them down first, but I just prefer it to keep them in place, is to make sure that the hinge is on the edge there, so that the back side of the hinge sticks out a little bit over the edge. The reason for this is so you won't create a big gap when the easel is folded. So let's do some gluing down of the hinges. Here I use the gel super glue. Here I use the fast setting spray for the super glue. Make sure that you don't get glue in these sections of the hinge so that it won't affect or restrict the movement of the hinge. You can see both hinges are secured and in place. Now I take the awl and press a hole where the screws will be screwed in. I have not made pre-drilled holes for the screws, so this is just so that the screw points will be secured and not slip when I try to screw them into place. I am so sorry, I'm almost out of frame here. Please just be patient with me, as this is my first how-to video and I'm still finding my feet, as you can see. The smaller board will be attached to the middle section of the top board, which will give you the different degrees your top board can be angled at, or how far it will tilt up or down. Here I am using a 90-degree triangle to make sure that the smaller board will be straight, because if it is skew, you will experience problems when you want to angle your top board up. Getting my hinges and screws ready. I'm making the marks on the smaller board where the hinges will be, working on about 3 centimeters from the left and right edges. Now I'm making sure that the smaller board is placed equally from the left and right edges of the bigger board. I place the hinges on the smaller board where I would like them to go. I decided to move the smaller board up a bit, and using the 90-degree triangle, I checked that the measurements are equal on either side of the smaller board compared to the edge of the bigger board, so that it will be completely in the center of the big board. Here I'm using my marker. Then I use the awl and I'm making pilot holes for the screws. Now that the smaller board is screwed to the bigger board, I'm checking the variety of angles I would like the top big board to slant at, so that I can get an indication of where to place my small balsa wood blocks. So I'm keeping an eye on the right side board, the big board, and checking that angle. By using the triangle with a 90-degree corner, I'm making marks to where the balsa wood blocks will be glued to. I'm also making these marks 3 centimeters apart. Using the same triangle with a 90-degree corner, I'm making sure that the left side of the triangle matches up along the side of the big board, and drawing straight lines across from the markings that I made a moment ago. There will be 2 rows of balsa wood blocks, and by drawing these lines, I'm making sure that they will all be on the same height from the bottom of the board. I'm double checking that my markings are correct. getting the balsa wood blocks ready. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to do single or double layer, and in the end I decided that single layer will be more than sufficient. I'm using the two triangles with 90-degree corners. The left triangle I'm placing on the side of the left hinge. The right triangle is exactly on the bottom edge of the board, and by doing this I'm making 100% sure that the line I'm drawing will be straight and exactly the same distance from the edge of the board. I'm repeating the same procedure on the right side of the board. I decided in the end that I will put these blocks on the inside of those lines. Serious concentration. Just something about super glue. Generally it is used on non-porous surfaces that you want to glue together. So should you get a super glue, just make sure that it is or can be used on porous surfaces like wood. Another tip, which is something that took me quite a while to discover, but I'm very grateful for this tip, is that should you get super glue on your fingers, acetone just does the trick. It's happened before where I get super glue on my hand or my finger and I just shove my whole finger in the bottle and then I just wipe it off. It dissolves the super glue. Naturally not when it's set already, as in on a product or a project, but yes, you want to try and treat it as soon as possible to get it off your skin. I'm double checking the angle. I'm using the fast setting spray on the glue. It just lets the super glue set super fast, especially on a porous surface. I'm checking all the angles again, and the reason for this is also to see if there are any balsa wood blocks that I would need to trim a little bit. The rule of thumb is to cut away from you to prevent you from cutting yourself. But the balsa wood is very soft and easy to cut with a craft knife, which enables me almost to carve the wood. Here I'm trimming away some of the balsa wood so that the smaller board will be able to fit nice and snug. Checking if I need to trim some more of the edge off. Seeing that balsa wood a very soft wood is, I put some super glue on each block, which will make them stronger. The super glue will draw into the wood. So the entire watercolor easel is put together now. This is the way that you will use it. So you can set it at the angle that would be suitable for the medium that you're working in. Perfect. I'm happy. This is the thickness of the easel when it's folded up, so it doesn't take up much space. Perfecto, Mindo. I'm a happy girl.